Okay, I'm answering Reddit's makeup questions. Our makeup. That's what we're doing today. So the first one is, what is the best affordable primer for dry skin? Now I instantly have an answer to this. I'm obsessed with the Flower Beauty Skin Smoothie Hydra Pop Primer. I love this specifically because it's super lightweight, but it's very hydrating. It doesn't leave your skin looking oily or wet, okay? So if you have like intensely dry skin, I would highly recommend using like some milky toners, hydrating toners underneath like a moisturizer and then going in with this. It's incredibly beautiful and it gives like a really nice smoothing base that has some grip. So it really holds onto your foundation and makes sure that it's going to last throughout the day. The only problem is it used to be available at Ulta. It's not anymore. You can find it on the Flower Beauty website and then it's also on Amazon, and I'm so worried that they're going to discontinue it. So pick it up while you can, okay? I would compare it to the one from MAC, the Studio Radiance Primer, which is another one that I really love. It's sort of similar. It's moisturizing, but like has more of like a silky kind of feel to it. But this one's like $13. And I think it's like $8 on Amazon. So it's a really good option if you are looking for a hydrating primer that isn't going to like slip around and is going to like make your makeup last. Okay, this was an interesting one that I really enjoyed. Okay, so I realized I look better without contour and bronzer. I've tried it all: cream bronzer, powder bronzer, cream and powder contour, neutral bronzer. It all looks heavy on me and makes me look too done to my taste. As someone who skips foundation and mascara, any bronzer and contour looks too harsh on me. I'm happy with my defined cheekbones. It's okay, I don't need them to be model defined. I'm Armenian, so my features are already pronounced, and I find that skipping these products makes me look softer. Are there any products that you realized you don't need? I thought this was a really interesting comment mostly, because I do go through periods where I'm like, I don't really want to use bronzer right now. I only want to use contour, or the other way around. When I first started wearing makeup, I think I was like 13 or something, like 12 or 13. Blush was my thing. I didn't wear foundation for years. I didn't start wearing foundation until I was like in college, until I started breaking out. So the fact that this person doesn't wear any foundation or concealer or whatever, and they're also happy with their prominent features, it doesn't sound like they even need contour, and could go into bronzer if they want to like warm up the skin and create like maybe a little bit more definition, like a, you know, an easy sort of definition. It kind of sounds to me like they haven't found a bronzer that works for their skin tone, so that's probably like one of the reasons that they don't really like it. But you don't need, it's just a good reminder that like you don't need to be using all of these things. Like this person said, I don't need them to be model defined. Like, yeah, everybody doesn't need to be sculpted to the gods. So it's just like a really nice reminder, and gave me a little bit, like raised a little bit of a red flag that like if you don't have the proper colors, then you're not gonna like the results no matter what, you know? In fact, recently I had been trying some new products and I was not happy with like the bronzer colors, and I was just feeling like I had to do so much mixing and I was getting really fatiguing. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a little bit of contouring and I'm just gonna focus on blush. Like I'm gonna quit bronzer, which today trust me, I am bronzed. But like play around and don't feel like you need to use like highlight, contour, bronzer. You know what I mean? It's not for everybody, and it doesn't need to be. Foundation or concealer? Hi guys, so I was thinking lately and I realized that when I put concealer on, I literally just apply it to my whole face like it's foundation. And at this point, should I buy foundation? I've never bought foundation before, and like I don't want to use both concealer and foundation because I'm afraid of packing too much makeup. That'll crease. I also don't know how to apply foundation, but I can learn. But anyway, foundation or concealer? And can you guys recommend me products? So I think this is interesting. I immediately think about the girl who does my hair color, Sarah. She has a concealer that she basically uses as a foundation. I've seen her apply it. Like she's done her makeup while my hair's cooking. It's from Tarte, I think, and it's just like her perfect color match. It's just like the color match. She doesn't use a whole foundation. She kind of just like puts it in the center of her face and then like blends it out, and it looks gorgeous on her. this is kind of one of those things where it's like, you don't need, like, do you need a foundation? No, you don't need a foundation. If you have a concealer that's doing what you want, then use the concealer. You know what I mean? If you're literally putting it all over your face, it might be a little bit more cost effective to pick up a foundation that is going to be like a slightly, a larger amount. Oftentimes, like, concealers will be like relatively expensive compared to a foundation. It depends, but like compared to a foundation and the amount that you're getting, if you are looking for something that's just going to like create one even tone, then like maybe a foundation, And a foundation is very easy to use. If you're using a concealer, just use your, if you're using a concealer essentially as a foundation, just use your foundation as a foundation, If you do want to make that jump. But you don't need to have a foundation. You don't need to have a concealer. Similar to the last comment or question, you can use products for what you want them for. Like, there are no hard and fast rules. It's only when you start to kind of like run into typical problems, if you're using a product like in an unconventional kind of way, that you need to pay attention a little bit more to the rules, So this, I would say, it depends on like what the objective is. If you find that you're going through a concealer really, really fast, then maybe it would be more cost effective to pick up a foundation. But I think, use what works for you, dude. Use what works for you. Oh, this is such a good one. And I actually want to I think I want to do like a detailed, or at least maybe like film a short, how to clean and prevent mold from makeup sponges. This was actually like a topic a little while ago, like maybe a few years ago, where people were like cutting their sponges in half and like showing all this product on the inside of the sponge. Ugh. I thought I did a good job cleaning the makeup sponge with dish soap. How do you prevent mold from happening though? I cleaned and squeezed extra water out as best I could, but 2 days later, the sponge was still damp. I'm deathly allergic to mold, so I'm pretty worried. I cannot risk putting mold spores on my skin. None of us can. Okay, so I have a very in-depth cleaning process. The first is, one of the best ways to clean a sponge is with a bar, like a solid cleanser. Beauty Blender has them, Sigma has them, Cinema Secrets has them. What is the one that I'm using right now? I feel like I just got it on Amazon. And it is really good, like a solid cleanser. What you want to do is you want to take your sponge and get it damp, like the way that you would to do your makeup. Maybe a little bit more damp than that, like not quite, maybe like, yeah, a little bit more. And then wherever you have the product, work it, like really press it and work it into that bar, and then squeeze. And then I like to go into like all the other like sides of the sponge just to make sure that I'm like getting anything that might move around when I'm breaking down this area. Squeeze, like really massage it into the sponge, rinse it, and then double check to see if there are any other little like spots. I usually do that process twice to make sure. I did that today and it worked really nicely. The only problem is that sometimes a solid, like a solid soap bar can, not a bar, but like a cleanser, like a solid cleanser, can leave a little bit of that like waxy residue feel on your sponge. It depends. If you want to use dish soap, which is actually something that I do very often, and it is good about like with grease, but when you use the dish soap, it lathers up like crazy and it can get kind of like stuck in the center of the sponge. That sounds like the problem that this person is having. What I do is, first of all, like wash it as much as possible, like as much soap as possible until the thing looks clean. And then when you're squeezing it, you can kind of feel this like dense feeling of like suds in the center of the sponge. What I do is I squeeze it out completely and then I will soak it in rubbing alcohol. Okay? And squeeze, get the rubbing alcohol into the center. And you want to let it like sit for a second because you need to give the rubbing alcohol a little bit of time to disinfect. But what that does is not only does it fully disinfect the sponge, it breaks down those suds in the middle. And it also helps to release any product that might be like stuck right in the middle of the sponge. So yeah, that's what I do. And that is I probably do that more often than using the soap, like the bar, the solid cleanser, but I go kind of back and forth. And I really like doing the dish soap and the rubbing alcohol because it feels like a deep clean. And I will say to you that at the end of every sponge's life, I have cut it open. Never once has there been any product in there. Never once. And these are my processes. So I hope that helps. If you are struggling or you're just a little like, about sponges. Because I love a sponge. I love a sponge for applying foundation. And I can't give it up. So just keep them clean. No mold spores. Nasty. Does anyone have any drugstore foundation recommendations to hide blushing? I get red so easily and quickly. Like, even if someone just speaks to me, I'll go bright red, and I desperately need something that will cover it because it's so embarrassing. I feel so bad for people who blush. I remember when I was in high school, that was like a thing when, like, you know, you public speaking or whatever, and you see someone who just goes red, and it's like, that's so rude, because like I was nervous as fuck. Like I thought I was gonna die, but like my face didn't show it, you know? That's so rude. Like what a rude thing. I do have a really good recommendation. My favorite drugstore foundation for full coverage is the Revlon Color Stay foundation. It's over there. I'm not gonna grab it. But famously, buff is one of my favorite colors. It is a beautiful coverage. Like it really provides beautiful coverage without feeling heavy. And it's not, they have two different formulas, one for oily skin and one for dry skin. So you can choose depending. Obviously the one for oily skin is going to be like a little bit more on the matte side, but it's not overly matte. I would say that it's like a satin matte kind of finish. Really beautiful finish, beautiful coverage. It's definitely going to like even the tone of your skin, but also because of that like fuller coverage, it's not going to let the blushing show through. So that would be my drugstore recommendation for you. This was one actually that I wanted to read because I wanted to hear your answers to this. So this person said, what actually improved your makeup the most? I feel like I've been doing my makeup the same way for years and it looks fine, but not amazing. I'm curious, what change made the biggest difference for you? Was it better skin prep? A different foundation formula, blending techniques, brushes, lighting, or just practicing more? Not necessarily expensive products, just something that noticeably leveled you up. And I just liked this question because it was kind of fun to sort of like scroll through and see what people's answers were. I would love to hear what your answers to that are. Like, what do you think has made a difference in your makeup? Or maybe you're someone who just like wants to know and maybe you want to like scroll the comments and see what people have to say. So that's that. Okay, eyebrow pencil pen recommendation help. I stocked up on NYX micro brow pencil in cool ash brown as I was so happy with it. But since I finished my stash and repurchased, the formula is different, waxy, greasy, and doesn't stay on as well. Can someone recommend a good alternative, preferably drugstore, as I go through 1 month? I'm looking for a cool toned, stiffer formula. I have sparse brow hairs that are naturally thin and light despite having dark brown hair on my head. I dye them, but it doesn't do much as I don't have a lot to work with. I feel you there. All right. That's interesting that they say that because now that I think about it, I did start using the NYX micro brow when I dyed my hair red, and I did think that it was kind of like a wet formula. I didn't notice it, like it wasn't something that was like a bad thing for me necessarily. But yeah, interesting. MAC is great. Like I love MAC's brow pencils. I think they're so fantastic. The colors are like pretty good. I like stylized, and then also, I can't remember the name. That's really annoying. But the MAC ones are pretty good, but I would say that they tend to lean a little bit on the red side. Like there's a little bit more of a red undertone in there. The brow products that I am constantly recommending to people, if you are looking specifically for like an ash blonde or an ash brown, nothing compares to Model Rock Cosmetics. It is so random. It's not super accessible. You have to order it online. Where's the blonde one? Here's the blonde one. I think it's an Australian brand. I'm telling you, these are the best. These are the most realistic brow colors in the world. So I have ash brown and blondie. I'm telling you, dude. Like, this is so, like, Blondie is like a realistic blonde. It's like an actual blonde. It's so, look at that. That's Blondie. If I swatch this next to the NYX Micro Brow in blonde, you're gonna be like, what? Like, that's what I used to use when I had red hair. It's so crazy. These are so good, so good. And I would say that they last really well. Yeah, and they're also like a really good, I love the formula. Like, I would say that it has like enough wax so that it doesn't slip around, but it's not like wet like that person was saying. This is the ash brown color. Beautiful colors, perfect cool tones, obsessed with them. Like, these two together, I love them so much. They are so, so good. And I feel like I never hear anyone talk about Model Rock Cosmetics because it's so random. And I think they sent me like a PR box like 8 years ago, and I've been using them ever since. So I have like repurchased these. I also, they have brow powders that are really good. Also similar colors. I wish they had brow pens. Maybe someday that'll happen, but shout out to Model Rock Cosmetics. And if you are looking for like cool toned brow pencils, so good, dude. So good. Help me fix my brows. Speaking of brows, I'm looking back at my vlog, and my eyebrows make me so mad. Until I get a lamination, what can I use to make them flat? I currently use Benefit Precisely My Brow, Benefit Gimme Brow, Benefit Brow Setter, and Anastasia Brow Freeze. Nothing keeps them in place. Girl, same. Yeah, I like am so jealous of all of the people who are able to use like Anastasia Brow Freeze or any of these like the Gimme Brows or whatever and have their brows actually stay in place. Soap. Soap is the only thing. This is the best one. I keep it in a little baggie. It's Pears soap. Oh, it used to smell like ginger. It doesn't really smell like ginger anymore. Maybe it's too old for that now. It's really great because it's translucent and it has a little bit of that yellow tinge. So it doesn't leave that white like residue in your hair. You don't need a lot of it. You just put a little bit of water, or like I like to use a setting spray, and then a spoolie, brush your hair. Nothing keeps your brow hairs in place like soap. Nothing, okay? If you are like looking for something because you have very, very stubborn hairs, I'm telling you, give up on all the brow products and just buy this. Like, I get it on Amazon. It's so cheap. Usually I think I get like a 2-pack. I think I got a 2-pack and I just have them. Like, I can't even, and look, I cut off a chunk and I put it in my like travel makeup bag for when I travel. So like, you don't need anything. It lasts forever. It's so cheap. It's so good. Especially for someone who's doing their brows all the time. So yeah, soap. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Soap. The final one is actually kind of a conversation starter. Rant. I didn't realize makeup would cost this much mentally and financially. When I first started, I thought it would be simple. Foundation, concealer, eyeliner, lipstick, done. But then you realize your face looks kind of flat, so you buy a blush. Then you see how good blush looks with highlighter, so you buy that too. Then your foundation isn't quite right. Maybe it's slightly too orange or too pale, or it looks weird around your mouth, so you buy an orange corrector, then a green one for acne. Then you learn that you have olive undertones, and now apparently you need a blue corrector too. At this point, you're not even adding fun products. You're just trying to fix the ones you already bought. And blush, don't even get me started. Too pink, too warm, too dull. So you buy another and another, and you can't return opened cosmetics, so the wrong shade just sit there as wasted money. Then one day you realize your makeup doesn't last long enough. So now you need a primer or a setting spray. And of course you need a setting powder to lock everything in. And don't even get me started on brushes, because apparently you need different brushes for everything. Foundation brush, concealer brush, blush brush, setting powder brush, multiple eyeshadow brushes, and they all cost money. This is all drugstore, but when you keep adding product after product after product, it really adds up. And if you wear makeup regularly, you have to repurchase things soon. Does anyone else feel like makeup slowly turns into this never-ending cycle of buying things to fix other things, or am I just overthinking it? I live in the Netherlands. Returns here don't work for opened items. So I thought that was a really nice comment, because I think that person is experiencing very valid things that we've all experienced, even as someone who is in this industry and I receive PR, I receive a lot of makeup, it does sometimes feel like you are having to purchase things to sort of balance out other things. So the first thing that I wanted to do is kind of try to relieve a little bit of that pressure. Makeup is supposed to be fun. It's an expression. It shouldn't be this oppressive thing. Now, that's easy to say from my perspective. My relationship with makeup has evolved quite a bit throughout the years. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, I started wearing foundation. I didn't start wearing foundation until I started breaking out when I was in college. And so there could be some insecurities that are sort of like wrapped up in it. And I'm not gonna say that I don't still have them. Like I contour my face because I like the way it looks. I like to add a specific dimension. I like to contour my jawline because I'm not necessarily so happy with the way that it looks when it's not contoured. And finding those specific colors, like the person who commented and said that they found out that they were olive and now all of a sudden they need all of these color correctors. It can be really overwhelming. This actually brings me back to some of the stuff that I've been talking about recently in some of my more like mental health focused videos, like my video about binge eating. It has so much more to do with our mindset. So where our mind is, whether we're in a negative place or a neutral place, even when it comes to makeup, you can receive the information from a pro who's talking about like sculpting the face, how to apply blush, applying highlighter, making your makeup last all day. So using a setting spray before putting your makeup on, mixing it in with your concealer, setting your face at the end of the day, all of those kinds of tips and tricks. Not everyone has to partake. And if it's something that's very overwhelming for you and it's making you feel like it's increasing insecurities and it's not fun anymore, then I would recommend fully reducing the amount of makeup that you are using. Like maybe you at heart are a clean girl and you just want a skin tint and a little shimmer on the lids and a lipstick, like a lip gloss or something. If you're a makeup lover and you love the artistry of it, you're probably going to be collecting more products. Because the more you do, the more you create, the more you're gonna need. That's just kind of the way that it works. Unfortunately, when it comes to purchasing products, there is a lot of trial and error because, and even for those of us who like receive product or know very much our skin tone, you have to try different products because they're not going to work for every single person or every single skin tone. I think that feeling is extremely valid, and I would love to hear if you've experienced that at all, because I do feel like I have in the past, especially when I'm using products that I'm in a place where I'm using products that aren't necessarily like working with each other. And maybe it takes just changing one thing. And it's like, do I really need to like replace this one thing? Personally, I think that mentality and that overwhelm seems to be perpetuated by the fact that there are so many products and we're kind of always searching for like the next best thing. And I find myself doing this still. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of reining it in, but even still, I'll be like, I feel like I need a new blush. Do I need a new blush? No. Like, I have so much blush. I have so many blushes. I don't need a new blush. But sometimes you're just like, do I need a new blush? Is this the next best thing? Is this concealer going to be way better than all the concealers I've ever used? So I need to try it because it's boasting all of these like smoothing and creaseless and blah, 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 whatever it might be. Unfortunately, I think that it really comes down to like a relationship with the products, with the consumption, I guess. Two different people could see that a new product is launching that looks fun. And one person might be like, oh, that's cool. And then look at their collection and be like, you know what? I don't really need that. So whatever. And then another person might be like, see that something new is launching and be like, oh my God, I need that. It might be better than this thing that I already have. It's really expensive. I don't want to buy it, but it might be better. It might make everything so much better. And this like constant back and forth in their head, and then end up purchasing it. And then you know what? Maybe it's not better. Maybe it's actually worse. And then there's this like self-perpetuating negativity and blame and guilt for spending the money and overwhelm because you have too many products now and products that you're not using. I fully relate and understand that feeling. Hello? And I guess I wanted to read that because I wanted to hear what you have to say about that. I want to know, like, have you experienced that? At what point in time have you experienced that? Do you feel like you've worked through it? What helped you work through that feeling? Is it something that's sort of like a wave? Like, does it happen over and over again? I kind of feel, and obviously it's different for me because I do receive a lot of products, I feel like it happens in waves, where I get extremely overwhelmed with the amount of products that I have, and I don't want to use any of them as a result. And I end up kind of like falling into a place where I'm using the same things over and over again, which is pretty normal because most people are probably doing that. They're not constantly switching it up. I thought that was like pretty thought-provoking, and something that is like really important to me is that people view makeup very much as like fun and like this form of artistry that's just like pretty incredible. Like, I don't want contour to feel overwhelming or oppressive. I want it to feel like the possibilities are endless. That's what I like about it. I can choose to do it or not. I can do a winged liner or a smoky eye or no makeup at all, or just like pink all over my lids, or glitter on my cheeks. Like, I can do all of that and then I can wash it off. And that's like really what I want everyone's mentality to be, the possibility of it. And if you have things, you end up purchasing things that don't work for one thing, maybe look to see if it could work for something else. I've purchased setting powders in the past where I'm like, this doesn't work for me. And then I put it to the side, and then eventually I end up with like another setting powder, and I'm like, oh, what if I mix them? Or foundations. That's one of my favorite things. Foundation that I'm like, oh, this is interesting, but the color's not quite right. And I picked up this other one, so I mixed them. You gotta look for the positive. You know what I mean? You gotta look for the positive. And honestly, if you end up with too many products, first of all, don't beat yourself up over it. Second, mix some shit. It's like so exciting when you mix some shit and then you find something that's like unique to you because you made it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. That being said, thank you for watching. Please let me know your thoughts on, any advice that you have, like any responses that you have to any of these questions or comments down below. Would love to chat a little bit, but especially the one in the beginning and this last one. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you in the next one.